What happens when the people who truly keep the world running, the innovators, the builders, the very engines of progress, decide to simply walk away?
Hmm.
Imagine a world where those essential figures, the creators and the productive minds, just vanish into thin air. What then?
It's a powerful question, isn't it? Really grabs you.
It really does. A provocative, even kind of unsettling premise. And it forms the bedrock of our deep dive today into one of the 20th century's most, well, intensely debated and undeniably influential novels, Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a question that just echoes through the decades. This isn't just a novel in the conventional
Yeah,
sense.
right.
It's a cultural phenomenon, really. A profound philosophical treatise woven into this, well, gripping narrative.
Yeah.
And it's a deep, often challenging exploration of ideas that, frankly, still ignite debate and inspire really fervent discussion today.
For sure. And for this deep dive, we're focusing specifically on the introductory material and those crucial early chapters of the book, basically the foundational bedrock of its world.
Exactly. Every insight we uncover, every nugget of knowledge we try to extract will come directly from the specific excerpts you've provided. We're making sure we stick precisely to the source material here.
That's precisely right. Our mission here is to meticulously unpack the core concepts Ayn Rand intended to convey, to understand the intricate context of Atlas Shrugged's creation, and, to witness firsthand how she so skillfully set the stage for this truly epic work.
Mm-hmm.
We'll delve into the initial setup of its deteriorating world, introduce you to its unforgettable characters, and illuminate the central conflicts that immediately start driving the narrative.
Think of it as your essential shortcut, maybe, to being well informed about the foundational bits of Atlas Shrugged.
Exactly. Complete with surprising facts and just enough thought-provoking stuff to keep you thoroughly engaged. So let's unpack this fascinating journey. All right, let's jump right into the very identity and context of this colossal book.
Mhm.
Because even before we dive into the story itself, the physical book, how it was published, even its dedication, tells us so much about its reach and, I guess, its author's intentions.
Definitely. Of course, we know Ayn Rand is the author, and the title Atlas Shrugged.
Mm,
It's become utterly iconic, hasn't it?
totally.
It's a phrase that evokes so much, even for people who haven't actually read the book. But what's fascinating, as you said, is its publishing history.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, it was brought to the world by Signet, which is an imprint of New American Library, itself a division of Penguin Putnam Inc. So big players.
Right. Mainstream.
And the reach wasn't just domestic. Its publishing locations spanned New York, London, Ringwood, Toronto, Auckland. That immediately tells you this was a book with truly global aspirations.
So, not intended as some niche philosophical text.
Not at all. It was aimed for a wide distribution and impactful work from the get-go.
Okay. And you mentioned the dedication.
Yes, a small but, I think, significant detail that's often overlooked. It's simply to Frank O'Connor.
Just that.
Just that. A single line. Yet it stands out, doesn't it? It sparks curiosity about who this person was. What was their significance to Rand, or maybe to the creation of this massive work?
Was he a collaborator?
Hmm?
A muse? Someone who embodied her ideas?
The sources don't explicitly tell us, unfortunately, but it's a personal touch in a book that's just so grand in scope.
Interesting. What else stands out just from looking at the book itself?
Well, beyond that, and quite notably, we find a very explicit publisher's note right at the beginning.
Okay. What does it say?
It emphatically states this is a work of fiction. It emphasizes that all names, characters, places, incidents are imaginative, not factual. And any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, businesses or events, is purely coincidental.
The standard disclaimer, but maybe more significant here.
I think so, yeah. For a book that delves into such profoundly deep societal, economic, philosophical themes, themes that often feel, ripped from real-world headlines even today, this disclaimer feels particularly crucial.
It's like they anticipated the reaction.
Exactly. It's almost as if the publishers, and maybe Rand herself, anticipated the intense real-world interpretations, the heated debates, maybe even accusations of specific allegories that would inevitably follow. It sort of sets a boundary, reminding you, the reader, that you're entering a meticulously constructed fictional world designed to illustrate ideas, not to mirror specific events.
That's a powerful point about the intentionality there. It implies a certain kind of engagement the book expects from its reader.
Hmm.
And it's not just a standalone novel, is it? The sources also seem to indicate it's a gateway to something larger.
That's right. They mention that information about other books by Ayn Rand and her philosophy, objectivism, can be obtained by writing to a specific address. Objectivism, Box 177, Murray Hill Station, New York.
So it's explicitly presented as more than just literature.
Yeah, it's a conduit to a broader philosophical movement. It signals that Rand's work extended far beyond narrative fiction into this cohesive, organized intellectual system. It's basically inviting readers to delve deeper into her ideas once they'd experienced them through this story.
Almost a direct call to action for the philosophically curious.
Precisely.
Okay, now this is interesting. There's a detail from the cover of the source material itself. A library stamp.
Yes. And this is a truly curious, almost charming detail. It's a real-world stamp that surprisingly grounds this, very theoretical work in the tangible. It's a library stamp from the Chandra State Central Library, Agartala.
Agartala, where's that?
It's in India. And it even includes a specific acquisition number 11136, and a note, 11th Finance Commission Fund.
Wow, that's incredibly specific.
Isn't it? It's an unexpected element. A tangible artifact, a physical trace of the book's journey through actual libraries, funded by real-world commissions. It brings a touch of everyday reality to a text dealing with these grand, abstract ideas.
It really reminds you that these powerful philosophical novels don't just exist in theory. They travel, they sit on shelves, they get read by individuals in all sorts of places.
Exactly. They become part of this broader intellectual ecosystem.
That's a fantastic observation. It humanizes the source material in a unique way. Okay, so moving from these physical markers to the intellectual foundations, we find this incredibly insightful introduction in the 35th anniversary edition by Leonard Peikoff.
Ah, yes, Peikoff,
Yeah.
for intellectual air.
Right. And this is where we really begin to uncover Rand's profound intentions and her artistic philosophy. Peikoff reveals Rand's view of art not just as commentary or, passive representation.
No, it's much more active than that.
He says she saw it as a recreation of reality according to an artist's metaphysical value judgments. Now, what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, it's Rand basically telling you that art, especially her art, isn't just a mirror held up to the world. It's an active, deliberate reshaping of reality through the artist's deepest values and convictions.
So when you read Atlas Shrugged, you're not just getting a story.
Exactly. You're experiencing Rand's recreation of a world that embodies her convictions about what is good and bad, what triumphs and what decays. Every character, every plot turn, every vivid description of the landscape is infused with her philosophical judgment.
Making the reader feel her ideas, not just process them intellectually.
Precisely. Peikoff notes she never flouted her wishes in her introductions. She aimed to prepare the reader's thinking for the profound, often challenging journey ahead. It's like a philosophical primer disguised as an introduction.
Okay, so this approach, it raises a question about the sheer meticulousness, the intellectual rigor behind creating Atlas Shrugged. Peikoff talks about her journals.
Oh, yes. He emphasizes that Rand wrote voluminously in her journals, detailing every aspect, theme, plot, characters. These aren't just casual notes. They're described as powerful examples of her mind in action. A fascinating record of the step-by-step birth of an immortal work of art. What does that tell us? It highlights that this wasn't a story just born of inspiration. It was a deeply reasoned, architecturally structured construction.
A testament to her dedication to integrating her philosophy into every fiber of the narrative.
Absolutely. It wasn't just what she said, but how she built the world to say it.
And it's absolutely crucial, you mentioned, to connect the Fountainhead to Atlas Shrugged here. Peikoff's introduction makes this link explicit.
Very explicit. He points out that the strike notes, which eventually became the very core of Atlas Shrugged, date back to January 1945. That's a full year after The Fountainhead was published.
So not just a sequel, but an evolution.
A significant evolution of her thought, yes, taking her fundamental ideas and applying them on a much grander societal scale.
How so? What's the main shift?
Well, The Fountainhead was primarily about individualism and man's soul, right? Exploring that intense, often personal conflict between an uncompromising individual like Howard Rourke and the insidious collectivism embodied by Ellsworth Toohey.
Right, Rourke versus Toohey.
Exactly. But Atlas Shrugged is explicitly presented as a social novel. It's a larger-scale exploration of the nature and function of the creator and the second-hander within the broader fabric of society.
So the personal conflict from the fountainhead becomes the theme here.
Precisely. Rourke's solitary struggle becomes the pervasive theme of Atlas Shrugged. It signals a much wider societal application of her ideas. It moves from the individual struggle to how that struggle impacts and is impacted by the collective. The stakes become infinitely higher.
And at the absolute core of this broader societal theme lies that central driving question you mentioned earlier.
What happens to the world when the prime movers go on strike?
Right. The novel is explicitly described as painting a stark picture of the world with its motor cut off.
It's not subtle. It forces you, the reader, to confront who these prime movers, the creators, the innovators, the productive minds, truly are, why they function, and perhaps most provocatively, how society actively hinders them.
Pycroft makes it clear that while The Fountainhead did not show how desperately the world needed Rourke, Atlas Shrugged sets out to do exactly that.
Yes, it's starkly portrayed as the story of the world's body dying of anemia. That's not just a powerful image of societal decay. It's an urgent warning. It suggests a vital life force is draining away slowly but surely.
Wow. Okay, so focusing on the characters who embody this,
Yeah.
what's Rand's own perspective on Dagny Taggart's central role in this collapsing world?
Well, Dagny, the railroad heiress, is undoubtedly one of these creators, right? A paragon of competence and drive.
Clearly.
Yet, Rand saw her primary error, and this is fascinating, not as a flaw in character, but as over-optimism and overconfidence.
Over-optimism. How?
Dagny, in Rand's view, mistakenly believes that men are fundamentally better than they are,
Yeah.
that they'll ultimately understand the value of achievement and reason. She thinks she can do more than an individual actually can, and that reason will automatically win.
Which Rand saw as a mistake.
A profound mistake, yes. The ultimate message, according to Rand, is quite stark. Don't count on them, leave them alone.
Wow. That's pretty bleak. It gives us a direct, somewhat cynical insight into Rand's view of individual responsibility versus societal expectation.
A deep distrust in the collective's ability to recognize or reward genuine value, absolutely.
So if Dagny's over-optimism is an error, what then, for Rand, defines a true creator?
Pycroft's introduction clarifies this.
Hmm.
A true creator must be optimistic in the deepest, most basic sense. But this isn't naive optimism, you understand.
Right.
It's a profound, almost metaphysical belief in a benevolent universe and the inherent human capacity to function on that premise.
But this optimism doesn't automatically extend to other people.
No, not automatically to other specific men. Rand clarifies that man's nature isn't given. It depends on his free will, his individual choices. Therefore, the individual must cultivate his own self-reverence.
Self-reverence, that's a key Randian term.
It is. And this crucial distinction directly sets the true creator apart from the second-hander who acts according to the dictates of others or society's expectations rather than their own independent judgment and values. It's a radical definition of self-reliance.
Okay. And tying all this back to the purpose of fiction, Rand wasn't just about abstract statements.
No, the introduction highlights her philosophy that writing isn't about delivering abstract statements directly. It's about profoundly integrating philosophy into concrete events and characters.
To make the reader truly understand a new abstraction.
Exactly. It's about translating a complex philosophical theme, like the motor of the world cutting off, into the tangible, visceral reality of a story.
Which is crucial for understanding how Atlas Shrugged functions not just as entertainment, but as a vehicle for objectivism.
Absolutely. Making its ideas live and breathe through human experience, rather than through dry exposition. It's a philosophy that you encounter, that you feel through the narratives unfolding.
Okay, so with that incredible philosophical and contextual groundwork laid, let's dive headfirst into the world of Atlas Shrugged itself. Starting with part one, which is aptly titled Non-Contradiction.
A very Randian title.
Indeed. And the very first chapter, simply called The Theme, wastes absolutely no time in establishing this pervasive, almost suffocating sense of decline.
Right from the first line.
The novel famously, unsettlingly, begins with that question that just hooks you and echoes throughout. Who is John Galt?
It's not just a mystery. It immediately sets this profound tone of existential despair, of widespread societal decay that permeates every corner of the world Rand builds.
It's a question of absence, isn't it? Of lost purpose hanging heavy in the air.
It absolutely is. And right away we're introduced to Eddie Weller's, James Taggart's special assistant.
Okay. What's his role?
Well, despite being only 32, Eddie already feels this profound weariness and oldness, a sense of being devoid of the joy of discovery or ambition that should characterize youth.
He feels the decay personally.
Yes. He observes a bum and this overwhelming, palpable sense that the world around them is literally losing its motor. His personal feeling of stagnation mirrors the broader societal decay that Rand then vividly depicts. It sets a somber, almost elegiac mood right from the start.
And the signs of that decay aren't subtle at all, are they? They're splashed across the landscape, almost like a character itself.
Very much so. The source material paints this vivid, almost apocalyptic picture. Choked and dying trees, silent witnesses to neglect, abandoned shops with empty hollow windows, symbols of economic collapse.
What else?
Dilapidated structures crumbling from disuse, and a sky that looks ominously like a red stain from distant, uncontrollable oil fires.
So it's not just descriptive prose.
No, it's a deliberate, symbolic landscape, literally falling apart, illustrating not just industrial collapse, but a deeper, maybe spiritual or moral rot at the heart of society. It's a world that feels exhausted, giving up, reinforcing that central theme of the motor cutting off.
Okay, so within this deteriorating world, we meet the central figures of Taggart Transcontinental, the railroad, which is like the main artery of this struggling nation.
That's right. And the contrast is immediate and stark. You have James Taggart, the cautious, somewhat disheveled president. He seems more interested in avoiding problems and navigating bureaucracy than actually solving the catastrophic issues they face.
And then there's his sister.
Dagny Taggart, the utterly antithetical figure. Energetic, fiercely competent, strikingly beautiful, holding the vital position of vice president in charge of operation.
The contrast couldn't be starker, you said?
No. It immediately establishes a core conflict. Those who strive for achievement, innovation, progress, versus those who are content with or even actively foster stagnation and mediocrity. It's the engine versus the brake, embodied in two siblings.
And the immediate crisis they face is the failing railroad lines, right? The lifeblood of commerce.
Yes. Specifically, the Rio Norte line, critical for linking Colorado and New Mexico, is in dire straits. And even more critically, the Phoenix-Durango line, serving the crucial Wyatt oil fields, the nation's energy source, is also teetering on collapse.
How does James Taggart react?
He attributes it all to a vague, temporary national condition, a convenient excuse for inaction.
But Dagny pushes back.
Absolutely. With her characteristic drive and unwavering focus on solutions, she immediately pushes for action, for tangible, practical remedies. She's the one fighting against the tide, trying to hold back the chaos with sheer will and competence.
And her proposed solution immediately introduces another pivotal element, Rearden metal.
Yes, Dagny, with her sharp intellect and practical vision, sees this revolutionary new alloy, created by the industrialist Hank Rearden, as the absolute answer for new, desperately needed rails. It promises efficiency, strength.
But James Taggart
Dismisses it outright as impractical. His innate resistance to anything that challenges the status quo or demands real effort, this immediate rejection of innovation, driven by fear or maybe envy, sets up a major conflict.
the clash between those who produce and those who hinder.
Exactly. Between creation and stagnation, it ripples through the whole narrative.
And that pattern of confusion and stagnation is reinforced by this recurring question we hear, right? What's the matter?
Yes. It's almost desperate. We hear from various characters, the bewildered conductor on the stalled comet train, symbolizing stalled progress.
Even James Taggart himself says it.
Yes, when frustrated, ironically demonstrating his own lack of understanding. This simple, repetitive question perfectly encapsulates the pervasive sense of confusion and decline. No one seems to have answers, just this increasingly anxious inquiry. It suggests a world grappling with a problem it can't even name.
And this decline, this motor cutting off, it's explicitly shown not to be accidental, is it?
No, not at all. Jim Taggart reveals these new, insidious regulations proposed by the National Alliance of Railroads. Specifically, something called the anti-dog-eat-dog rule.
Sounds almost harmless, maybe even good.
Exactly. It's presented under the guise of fairness and being for the best within us. But what it actually does is prohibit competitive improvements and force companies to distribute business equally.
Penalizing success to prop up failure.
Precisely. It's a seemingly altruistic collectivist philosophy, but Dagny immediately recognizes it for what it truly is, a destructive force, designed to undermine individual achievement and efficiency, ensuring pervasive mediocrity.
So this rule isn't just bad policy in the story.
No, it's a concrete example of Rand's core philosophical battle lines being drawn. where the collective good, as defined by those in power, actively strangles individual excellence.
Okay, moving beyond the Taggart offices and into the industrial heartland. Chapter 2, The Chain, gives us our first deep look at Hank Rearden, the creator of Rearden Metal.
Yes, the quintessential Randian hero in many ways.
How is he introduced?
As truly formidable, an industrialist driven by an almost superhuman will, seemingly tireless in his dedication, pouring his entire life force into forging this revolutionary metal.
His physical appearance is highlighted, too.
Yes, powerful, purposeful, almost sculpted by his ambition. And his single-minded dedication is meticulously described. He's painted as the ultimate prime mover, embodying productive power, the personification of ingenuity and relentless work.
And the metal itself, Rearden Metal, you said it's almost a character.
It really is. The sources go into remarkable detail, described with a white satin sheen suggesting purity and strength. It possesses tremendous tensile strength, indicating durability.
And it's light but strong.
Yes, both light and strong, able to withstand terrific heat. This isn't just a technological advancement for the railroad, it's explicitly a symbol.
A symbol of what?
A tangible manifestation of human achievement, ingenuity, the triumph of the rational mind over raw materials. It represents the very potential, the spirit of innovation that Rand believes this society is actively suppressing and punishing. It's a beacon of what's possible, yet it becomes a target.
And it's not just external forces hindering Rearden, is it? The opposition comes from within his own home.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is crucial. He's perpetually surrounded by intense family conflicts. His wife, Lillian, his brother, Philip, even his mother. They all seem to actively resent his extraordinary success and his single-minded focus.
They criticize his ambition.
Ceaselessly. His focus on work, his refusal to conform to what they see as normal societal expectations. Lillian, in particular, is portrayed as deeply malicious, explicitly seeking to undermine him, to chip away at his achievements.
And his brother, Philip.
Philip champions these vague social problems and altruistic ideals, all while clearly and comfortably benefiting from Rearden's tireless labor. It's a striking, deliberate hypocrisy that Rand emphasizes.
So this constant internal strife highlights the personal cost of being a creator in this world.
Immense personal cost
Oh.
of daring to be exceptional. It's a domestic battlefield for the soul of productive man.
And beyond his family, there's the weight of public opinion.
A constant burden, yes. He faces relentless pressure from society and the media, often channeled through his own press agent, Larkin. They constantly advise him to downplay his achievements, apologize for his success, conform to this vague notion of public good or fairness.
How does he react to that?
He struggles deeply. With his innate desire for recognition, the profound pride he takes in his work, all while being bombarded by the demands of an ungrateful society that seems determined to make him feel guilty for his own brilliance and productivity.
It's not just social pressure, it's a moral assault.
Yes, urging him to sacrifice his values for the sake of others who haven't earned it.
And that anti-dog-eat-dog rule we talked about, it hits Rearden directly.
Directly and devastatingly. This rule, designed to enforce a false equality, aims to control his production and distribution, effectively punishing his unparalleled efficiency and groundbreaking innovation for the sake of fairness to less competent competitors.
It's designed to undermine the very people it claims to help.
By taking from the productive to give to the unproductive, crippling the engine of industry. It's not just a setback for Rearden, it's a direct, calculated attack on the principle of merit and achievement itself.
Which brings us to Rearden's profound moral dilemma, a central part of Rand's philosophy.
Absolutely. The source material emphatically highlights his core belief. He should be judged solely by his work, by the undeniable objective quality and utility of Rearden Metal itself, not by shifting popular opinion, collective demands, or political maneuvering.
He sees his success as a moral good.
An inherent moral good, yes. Something to be celebrated with unyielding pride, not something to be apologized for or concealed. This unwavering stance is a direct, powerful reflection of Rand's objectivist philosophy in action.
The assertion of individual achievement as a moral virtue.
And the rejection of altruism as the primary ethical code. For Rand, to be productive is to be moral, and to apologize for it is a profound moral failing.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to Chapter 3, the top and the bottom, where this illusion of cooperation and competence really starts to unravel.
Yeah, this chapter really exposes the rot at the top.
James Taggart's leadership, specifically, it's depicted as, well, not great.
Not great is an understatement. Utterly chaotic, deeply self-serving, devoid of any genuine merit. He actively creates disunity and trouble within the railroad's operations, It almost seems like he thrives on the very problems and inefficiencies he himself generates
How does he succeed then?
through pull and political connections, not capability or hard work. It highlights the rampant prevalence of cronyism and favoritism over genuine productivity and talent in this crumbling society. He's the epitome of a man rising not by merit, but by manipulation.
And we see an example of this cronyism with Orrin Boyle.
A perfect, chilling example. Orrin Boyle, in his company, Associated Steel. He's a direct competitor to Hank Rearden and his revolutionary metal.
But he succeeds through political influence.
Purely. Not through innovation, superior product, or efficiency. He is effusively praised by Jim Taggart, despite the fact that his company produces demonstrably inferior steel compared to Rearden metal.
So it directly contrasts Rearden's merit-based success.
Absolutely. It further illustrates the world's steep decline into a system that rewards the undeserving, the politically connected, rather than truly productive and competent. It's a world turned upside down.
And speaking of failures, the San Sebastian Line project in Mexico, Dagny championed this one, right?
Tirelessly, as a beacon of progress and future prosperity. But it's facing severe, almost catastrophic setbacks.
And James Taggart's reaction?
Predictable. He readily dismisses it as a Mexican catastrophe and eagerly seeks to abandon it entirely, citing political instability and unreliable resources.
Yeah.
This project, meant to be a vibrant symbol of what could be built, instead becomes another stark representation of the crumbling world and the ineptitude of its leaders.
Underscoring the futility of effort in a system that resists progress.
Precisely.
It's within this context of decay and failing enterprises that Francisco d'Anconia is first really introduced.
Yes, and he's presented in a very complex way. Initially, as this legendary, almost mythical figure of immense wealth and unparalleled competence, the owner of the vast copper mines, essential for the San Sebastian Line.
But his public image has shifted dramatically.
Dramatically, perplexingly. He is now widely known as a dissolute playboy who appears to be recklessly squandering his vast family fortune on frivolous pursuits.
So there's this stark dichotomy.
Huge. Between his past legendary status and his present seemingly self-destructive behavior, it immediately raises profound questions about his true motives and the actual, rapidly deteriorating state of his once dominant copper mines. It's a profound mystery, a central enigma introduced very early, designed to make you question everything.
And that pervasive, destructive, anti-dog-eat-dog rule, it extends beyond just the railroads.
Oh yes. It's further elaborated in this chapter as a sweeping mechanism designed to control entire industries. It specifically targets successful enterprises, forcing them into this coercive cooperation.
Which ultimately benefits the less efficient.
Exactly, allowing them to parasitize the truly productive. The source explicitly states this rule is designed to destroy an entire industry if that industry dares to promote achievement and excellence over what they vaguely define as the collective good or fairness.
It's a direct attack on the prime movers.
Systematically dismantling the engines of progress in the name of an artificial, enforced equality.
This destructive pattern, this motor cutting off, it's also seen in the mystery surrounding Ellis Wyatt.
Yes, another chilling piece of the puzzle. The inexplicable failure of his once thriving oil fields in Colorado. Production inexplicably drops to nothing. Pipelines lie empty. Wells are abandoned.
And the cause is unknown.
Attributed vaguely to unknown sabotage or disastrous bad luck. But this isn't just a minor plot point. It adds another layer to the world's inexplicable decline, hinting at a hidden force at play, a silent destroyer.
Deepening that central, unsettling mystery of who is John Galt.
Exactly. The world isn't just decaying naturally. It feels like it's being deliberately dismantled piece by piece by an unseen hand.
That brings us to Chapter 4, The Immovable Movers, which really centers on Dagny Taggart's desperate, almost frantic search for answers and solutions in this unraveling world.
Yeah, her desperation becomes really palpable here.
Dagny, ever the pragmatic visionary, sees her work, her fight, as the absolute last hope for Taggart Transcontinental, the last bastion against total collapse.
She's driven by this desperate, almost obsessive need to find and preserve these elusive, immovable movers, the creators and innovators who are the bedrock of the world's function, the people who actually make things happen.
She understands with chilling clarity that without them, everything collapses.
Everything grinds to a halt. Her mission is a race against time and really a search for understanding. Why is this happening?
And her desperation leads her on a quest to find Richard Halley.
Yes, a brilliant composer whose music, as described in the sources, embodied the triumph of man. His compositions weren't just aesthetically pleasing. They captured the very essence of human achievement and spirit.
Why is finding him so important to her?
Dagny believes his inexplicable disappearance isn't just a personal loss or a loss to the arts, but symptomatic of a larger systemic problem plaguing society, the vanishing of its best minds.
His music was described as rebellious.
Challenging, defiant, full of rebellion, which makes his vanishing even more significant. It's the disappearance of a vital dissenting spirit. The utter inability to find him or any credible information about his whereabouts deepens the chilling mystery of the strike.
Reinforcing the idea that the world's greatest minds are simply gone.
Withdrawn from society without a trace, leaving this massive void.
And then there's Francisco d'Anconia again, his baffling public image, his decline. It becomes even more puzzling for Dagny here.
Even heartbreaking, I think. He was once a child prodigy, a brilliant mind, her intellectual equal, a cherished companion who taught her to think, to question, to reach for perfection.
But now he's seen as just a playboy.
Exactly. His apparent squandering of his fortune and his utterly baffling decision to marry Lillian Reardon, Hank Reardon's manipulative wife, are completely inexplicable to Dagny. She simply cannot reconcile this current persona with the extraordinary man she once knew.
Hinting at a hidden agenda, maybe?
Or a profound, deliberate change in his character that she just cannot grasp. It adds another layer to the world's unraveling, another piece of the puzzle she can't fit.
This pervasive sense of loss, despair, apathy, it really affects Dagny deeply.
Profoundly. She feels the growing apathy infecting society like a slow-acting poison, a kind of collective resignation that seems to touch everyone around her.
And the disappearance of talented individuals. It's more than just an inconvenience for the railroad.
Oh, much more. Whether it's the railroad's best engineers, a brilliant composer like Hallie, or even the enigmatic Francisco. It's a chilling symptom of a world unraveling at its core, losing its will to live and create.
The more people succumb, the more desperate Dagny becomes.
Exactly. Desperate to find the few who, like herself, remain sane and capable of saving what's left. It truly is a desperate race against time, with the stakes nothing less than the very survival of civilization itself.
And this brings us to Chapter 5, dramatically titled The Climax of the d'Anconias. This really deepens the profound enigma of Francisco.
Yes, the focus sharpens intensely on him here.
The chapter opens with utterly shocking news.
That Francisco d'Anconia is, against all expectations, going to marry Lillian Reardon.
Hank Reardon's wife.
Wow, exactly. This event is strategically designed to create maximum intrigue and distress, particularly for Dagny. It throws her understanding of Francisco, and indeed the world, into complete disarray. From an outsider's perspective, it seems like a profoundly baffling, even self-destructive choice.
Why would a man of his intellect, his history, make such a decision?
To grasp the depth of this enigma, the narrative deliberately delves into Francisco's early life. His truly prodigious intellect. He's revealed as a genuine child prodigy, intelligent beyond his years, charismatic, educated at the finest institutions globally.
And crucially, his connection to Dagny.
Yes, he wasn't just intelligent. He was Dagny's intellectual companion, her mentor even, teaching her to think rigorously, challenging her mind, guiding her. He was characterized by this almost overflowing joy of life and an unwavering, relentless pursuit of perfection.
So recounting his past brilliance is key.
Because it highlights the staggering, almost unbelievable contrast with his present reputation. Why would such a man willingly embody everything he once seemed to disguise?
That's the absolute core contradiction, isn't it? The stark, almost painful contrast.
Between his almost mythical past brilliance and his present reputation as this dissolute playboy. He's now primarily known for his rapidly failing copper mines and his extravagant, seemingly meaningless lifestyle. It creates this profound, unsettling enigma for Dagny and for you, the reader.
Why would such a mind choose this path? It screams for an answer.
Implying a deeper, hidden design behind his actions.
And Dagny herself grapples with this. She suspects it might be an act.
Intensely. She considers the disquieting possibility that his current behavior isn't a true accidental decline, but rather a deliberate, highly calculated act. The source hints strongly at an unbroken line in his history.
Suggesting continuity beneath the surface.
Yes, a deeper, hidden purpose behind his seemingly destructive actions. His marriage to Lillian Reardon, far from being inexplicable, is framed as another perplexing choice that challenges Dagny's entire understanding of him. It forces her to consider that there might be a grander, concealed plan at play.
A purpose far beyond mere decadence.
He's playing a game, it seems, and Dagny is trying desperately to understand the rules.
What's truly fascinating here is how the source material subtly touches on themes like unearned suffering and moral depravity in relation to Francisco.
Yes. This isn't just about his personal story. It suggests a deeper philosophical point Rand is making about the profound, destructive consequences of certain societal values, and how those values can impact even the most brilliant and productive individuals.
So his choices, though perplexing, are part of a larger plan related to this climax of the Danconias.
That's the strong implication. A turning point that seems to involve a deliberate, if enigmatic, dismantling of his own empire.
And this is where it gets really interesting and provocative for us to consider. The idea that his actions, the ruin of his businesses, might be entirely deliberate.
Yes, the source strongly, almost unequivocally suggests it. He is explicitly portrayed as a man who would not do anything without a purpose.
So the idea that a great mind, a genius, might intentionally destroy value.
Ruin his own enterprises, seemingly squander his brilliance for a greater hidden purpose. It's a profound and deeply provocative thought for you, the listener. It forces you to question your assumptions about success, failure, underlying motives.
Is he a destroyer or is he building something by tearing down?
And what could possibly be the ultimate goal of such an extreme, calculated act? It leaves you hanging, wanting to know more.
Okay, let's try to connect all these intricate threads now and pull out the most important key takeaways from the sources we've explored today. What really stands out?
Well, first and foremost, I think, is that central, inescapable conflict of Atlas Shrugged being laid out so clearly right from the start.
That tension between the prime movers and the second-handers.
Exactly. The creators, innovators, producers, the people who build and sustain civilization, clashing with those who rely on, exploit, or actively hinder them, often under the guise of the public good.
And it's not just economic, is it?
No, it's depicted as a deeply moral and philosophical struggle that defines the very fabric of Rand's world and its ultimate fate. It's a battle for the soul of society, really.
A world where individual genius and productive power clash directly with collective mediocrity and enforced equality.
And the stakes are nothing less than existential. Which leads directly to the second big takeaway, the pervasive, unsettling mystery of the strike.
Right. That constant echoing question, who is John Galt?
That seemingly innocuous phrase, coupled with the unsettling trend of talented individuals inexplicably disappearing. It creates this powerful, palpable sense of a world slowly, inevitably grinding to a halt.
Because its engines, its most productive minds, are simply vanishing.
It's like an invisible war being waged, devastating society from within, and the most productive people are the targets.
And the third key point has to be the philosophy of objectivism, right? It's everywhere in these early chapters.
Absolutely saturated with it, yes. Along with Peikoff's introduction, the excerpts clearly lay out Rand's fundamental principles: the paramount value of individual achievement, reason as man's only guide, the pursuit of self-interest as a moral good.
Not selfishness, but rational self-interest as the driver of progress.
Precisely. And these principles are shown in stark, uncompromising contrast to collectivist ideals that prioritize a vague public good or fairness at the expense of productivity, efficiency, and exceptionalism.
That anti-dog-eat-dog rule being the prime example.
A concrete example of how this collectivist philosophy is depicted as actively undermining the very foundations of society within the narrative. It's Rand's argument playing out directly on the page.
Okay, so why should you, our listener, care about these powerful, often controversial ideas today? What's the relevance?
Well, I think this deep dive provides a unique and potent lens through which to examine current societal debates. Think about contemporary discussions around innovation, wealth creation, social responsibility.
The role of the individual versus the collective?
Exactly, that perennial tension. Atlas Shrugged compels you to critically think about the why behind success and failure, to consider the profound long-term implications of policies and philosophies that either reward exceptionalism and individual drive or conversely punish it in the name of equality or fairness.
It's a powerful framework for asking crucial questions about the society we live in.
And the values that guide its trajectory, definitely.
So, to briefly recap the expansive ground we've covered today, we've dug into the meticulous crafting of Atlas Shrugged, getting a handle on Ayn Rand's precise intentions and her unique philosophy of art. We've witnessed the initial setting of a world in undeniable, pervasive decline, a society slowly but surely losing its vital motor.
That feeling is palpable.
And we've met the key characters: the indefatigable Dagny Taggart, the brilliant but burdened Hank Rearden, and the utterly enigmatic Francisco d'Anconia. Their early philosophical conflicts immediately established the core tensions and mysteries of the novel.
It's a world where the very act of creation and productivity is clearly under siege, where the best minds are either suppressed or, most mysteriously, simply vanishing.
Which leaves us with a truly provocative thought to ponder, doesn't it?
It really does. If society truly depends on its creators, on those prime movers who innovate, build, and produce, what responsibility does society have to ensure they are free to create, to flourish, rather than being punished or hindered for their very success?
Or is it the other way around? Is it the individual's sole responsibility to fend for themselves, to uphold their values and produce regardless of society's structure or demands?
Even if that means withdrawing completely, as the strike seems to suggest.
It's a profound question, isn't it? One that forces us to consider our own roles, our own beliefs about what drives progress and what constitutes a just society.
We encourage you to reflect on how these deeply philosophical questions play out in your own lives, in your observations of the world around you, and maybe in the choices we all make every day.
Are you seeing signs of this motor cutting off, or perhaps a different unseen force at play? And how do your own values align with the creators, or perhaps with the second-handers that Rand so pointedly critiques?
Lots to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the powerful, unforgettable world of Atlas Shrugged.